Continuing with CES 2017 highlights, Blue Microphones was exhibiting and showing 3 new headphone models. Now the third model I didn't get a chance to hear, and we don't have it here. It's called the Satellite, and it's a wireless model with active noise cancellation that they were showing. Very cool looking, but again, haven't had a chance to hear it yet. Don't think it's coming out for a little while, but once it's out, once we have it, we'll tell you more about it. Now they were showing 2 other models there though, the Blue Microphones Sadie and the Blue Microphones Ella. Now you may think you've seen these headphones before, and I wouldn't blame you if you thought that, because they look so much like their predecessors and all of them are very unique looking. So 2 or 2.5 years ago, the very first headphones from Blue Microphones, this was the MoFi. And it was very innovative in terms of design with the multi-link headband that kept the ear pads. It was designed to keep the ear pads as flat against the head as possible, no matter how wide you pulled the headband. So very innovative design. Nobody else to this day that I'm aware of is using a multi-link headband design. Very cool. It also had built-in amplification, and what a lot of you didn't know was the amplifier inside the MoFi was actually designed by FIO, which I think was neat. Now this is the Lola. This came later after the MoFi, and it's a lighter weight version. They did away with some of the mechanism in the headband and lightened it up. They also got rid of the amplification stage in it and made it purely passive. So this is a passive-only version essentially of the MoFi that was released after the MoFi. It's called the Lola. Again, it's still a current model today. So the passive Lola continues into the Blue Microphones headphone line, but the active MoFi is being discontinued and replaced with a new active electrodynamic model called Sadie. Now Sadie continues a tradition that was started by the MoFi that I really like, and that's transparent amplification. If I didn't already mention it, the amplifier inside the MoFi was designed by FIO. I don't know if the amplifier inside the Sadie was designed by FIO, but both are rated at 240 milliwatts of output. So that's pretty powerful output. And by transparent amplification, what I'm talking about is a lot of other active headphones or headphones that have an active stage, when you switch in the amplifier, it changes the sound of the headphone. There's EQ applied. And what Blue did instead was to design a headphone acoustically that sounds good as a passive headphone, and then put a transparent amplifier in it, something more akin to having an outboard amplifier that's jammed into the headphone. And I like that approach a lot. Tune it acoustically, amplify it transparently. Works very well in both the MoFi and now the Sadie. Now one area of clear improvement with the Sadie versus the MoFi is in terms of fit and comfort. It's not immediately obvious when you just look at them because they look so much alike still, but when you put it on your head it becomes very obvious. Now a couple of key physical changes that you'll notice right away versus MoFi: no headband adjustment mechanism. As with the Lola, they did away with that. On Sadie, it makes for a lighter headphone. But they also seem to have optimized the clamping force. It feels less clampy. It definitely sits on my head lighter, and I can wear it longer term with more comfort than I could the MoFi. That I really like about it. But another very key change seems to be these ear pads. So one thing with these ear pads is, and with the clamping force, again, whatever tweaks they made just work. I put it on my head and it sits flat on my ears immediately. With the MoFi, I still occasionally, which I didn't notice until I started using Sadie, you'd still make little adjustments as you settled it on your head, and then you'd get the fit and you'd continue listening. With the Sadie, it just, boom, sits on my head very quickly. I let Joe here at the office try it. Brian, who goes by Axel Chloris on the forums, works here also. He tried it, and they also agree that the Sadie is more comfortable. In terms of sound quality, I prefer Sadie to MoFi. It's a refinement of the MoFi signature. I'm glad they didn't just upend the sound completely. So if you like MoFi, I think you're almost certainly going to like Sadie more because it refines the signature. And what that sound again is, it's a smooth sound. It's a big soundstage given how closed the headphone is. It's a punchy sound, and you can make it punchier by turning on the On Plus setting on the amplifier, which gives even more bass boost. So it's a very nice sound signature, but it's refined in the Sadie versus the MoFi. What to attribute those sound differences to, though, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if there have been any changes to the driver. Both use 50mm fiber reinforced dynamic drivers. I don't know if there have been changes to damping or to the amplifier, so not really sure about that. What I do know is the fit probably contributes substantially to it, because again, the fit with Sadie is substantially better on my head than it is with MoFi. So I think the Sadie is definitely a worthy improvement and a great replacement to the active MoFi. Of the 3 new models introduced by Blue Microphones at CES 2017, I think the one that most headfires will be most intrigued by, most interested in, will be the Ella. This is the new flagship. Now earlier I said the Sadie is their new active electrodynamic model, and I said it specifically like that because the Ella, the new flagship, is their new active planar magnetic model. So yes, they are introducing a new planar magnetic headphone. It uses 50mm planar magnetic drivers, and it is the flagship. It has, again, built-in amplification like the SADI, but a little bit more powerful than the SADI, 250 milliwatts versus 240 in the SADI. It is transparent amplification as well as with the SADI, but it does have the bass boost with the On Plus, which I'll get to in just a second. In terms of sound signature, this is a more revealing headphone, no doubt, than SADI. It still has nice soundstage, again, for a very closed headphone, but it also has a more linear sound signature, more neutral sound signature than SADI. So whereas with SADI, I don't use the bass boost very often, the On Plus mode. With Ella, I do. And I like having that option. I like having the option to have a more linear sound signature or to give it a dose of fun by turning on Plus with Ella. So that's a very cool thing to have with this headphone, these two personalities. And to me, they're more distinct personality differences in On Plus mode and transparent mode than it is with SADI, because you can go from more linear to something a little more fun. So I like that. So now, Blue Microphones has pretty strong presence in studios with pro audio people because of their microphones. So if the pro audio market people are looking for something more studio monitorish, no doubt in the line, the Ella is the best choice. I think it's an exciting new headphone from Blue Microphones. It's cool to see them enter the planar magnetic world. In addition to making headphones that so many headfires love to listen to and enjoy, and then to talk about on Headfi's forums, something else that Sennheiser has been focusing on a lot the last 2 or 3 years that I find very, very exciting, which I'll explain in a minute, is immersive sound, 3D sound, and in several different ways, several different formats. So I think it was 2 summers ago at one of the Sennheiser HE1, the new Orpheus, a launch event in Berlin. I went to a concert put on by the Junge Deutsche Philharmonie in Berlin, and it was recorded by Sennheiser using a 3D recording technique, the details of which I'm not clear on. I believe it used several microphones, and it didn't just capture the 360 degrees around me, it captured height as well, so it captured the entire acoustic. Now what was cool was after the concert, we get to go in this room, not with headphones, but with speakers, to listen to that recording, played back to us, the concert we were at not that long ago at that time. And we listened to it, and it was so convincing, and it was a very impressive 3D audio presentation of a concert that we were just in. So that was very cool. And then at last year's CES, they introduced a mic called the Ambio VR mic. I think it could be fairly called a professional virtual reality microphone. It's made to record 3D audio for virtual reality. This year at CES, they showed another cool device for consumer use called the Ambio Smart Surround earphones. They're earphones that you wear. They kind of look like earbuds that clip around over your ears, but they have microphones on them so you can do your own binaural 3D recordings. So I think that's very cool. Clearly there's an emphasis from Sennheiser on immersive and 3D sound. And the reason we find that so exciting here at Headfi is because we're going to be covering 3D sound, immersive sound in the context of gaming, virtual reality, and augmented reality, starting right about now and increasingly so as time goes on. Very exciting stuff Sennheiser was showing. Another very cool consumer immersive audio product shown by Sennheiser at CES is this. This is the Sennheiser GSX 1200 Pro audio amplifier for PC and Mac. It's a gaming USB DAC amp with Sennheiser's proprietary binaural rendering engine. It's designed to give an immersive 7.1 surround experience with a standard 2-channel headphone. In this case, we're showing it with the Sennheiser Game 1 gaming headset. It's a 2-channel gaming headset. We've used it with a number of gaming headsets and also with a bunch of audiophile headphones. And the surround effects that you can get from the GSX 1200 Pro in gaming is fantastic. So very convincing. It's already been reviewed online. It's been reviewed on Headfi's forum, so you can look for reviews of it there. We've enjoyed the heck out of it. Now, another very cool thing about the GSX 1200 Pro, you can use it to decode surround from movie content and also music that has surround content in it. So this is just another example of Sennheiser's commitment and a great practical example that you can get now of Sennheiser's commitment to immersive audio and 3D audio. Very exciting product. Now, of course, at CES, Sennheiser is going to introduce new headphone models, and this year they had several new models, most of which I recall were wireless. Now, I didn't have a lot of time at CES this year, so I didn't get to audition them all, but one of the models that I tried that I was very impressed by was this. This is the Sennheiser HD1 in-ear wireless. It'll be out soon, I believe, and it's a collar-type wireless headphone. And one of the gripes I have with most collar-type wireless headphones is the collar. Most of the collars look like generic plastic horse collars. They look odd on, in my opinion, but this one is changed up quite a bit by Sennheiser. They contoured it very nicely to the neck and shoulder. It's pretty sleek looking as well, and they covered it with a very nice and very stylish, genuine, very soft sheepskin leather. They included a swatch of that leather in the headphone. I don't know if they're going to ship it like that, but this sample had a nice swatch of the leather itself. So very stylish, and the stitching is also very stylish. So it actually looks good on. Now, of course, being stylish and all is not going to matter a whole lot if it doesn't sound good. And thankfully, the Sennheiser HD1 in-ear wireless sounds excellent for this type of a headphone. Of all the collar-type wireless headphones we have here at HeadFi headquarters, this is easily, for my tastes, the best sounding model we have, the most audiophile-friendly model we have here. Now, keep in mind, it does not have active noise canceling. So if you need active noise canceling, consider something else like the Bose Quiet Control 30. That's also another nice piece, but I prefer this for general music listening for sure. Now, one of the things that helps it sound good, it does have aptX. It does have NFC, which doesn't contribute to the sound, but makes for easy pairing, and it has about 10 hours of battery life. So if you can't tell, I'm a fan of the new Sennheiser HD1 in-ear wireless. I'm not sure exactly when it's coming out, but I believe it's soon. Again, Sennheiser was showing other new models. We're going to get those into HeadFi HQ soon, or as soon as they're available, and when we do, we'll talk more about those too. The Odyssey exhibit was one of my highlights of CES 2017, one of my biggest highlights for sure. Now, of course, they had their headphones there, the venerable LCD line of headphones, the EL8 line, and their new iSign line of in-ears. But the reason they were one of my biggest highlights might actually surprise you. At the Odyssey exhibit at CES 2017, they were giving one of the best virtual reality demonstrations I've yet experienced. They developed it in conjunction with Crytek, makers of Crysis and the CryEngine. It was custom content. It was only at the Odyssey exhibit, and it was immensely, immensely impressive. It was very immersive, and the sound was immersive. You looked down, you had robot legs, you had robot shoulders, and the sound reacted to wherever I was looking or paying attention to. It was very, very impressive. And that's part of what I'm getting at here. At the end of all that processing for the 3D sound, the immersive sound, you need great transducers. And the iSign VR, which again is based on the iSign 10, fits the bill. It has very, very tremendous resolving capability with vanishingly low distortion, even at high SPLs, makes it a great companion for something like the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive, and it was great in that demonstration. It really helped with the sense of immersion, this complete immersion. So, that was one of my highlights. We are going to be covering an increasing amount of 3D and immersive audio from HeadFi HQ in association with gaming, augmented reality, virtual reality. You'll start to understand it because we'll explain more and more of it as time goes on. But that demonstration at the Odyssey exhibit was definitely one of my highlights of CES 2017. I really enjoyed myself at CES 2017, but I wish I would have had more time there so I could have brought you more highlights. But again, over the last couple episodes, we've been able to bring you just a few highlights from CES, and I hope you enjoyed them. Anyway, I'll see you on the forums, and I'll see you next time on HeadFi TV.